Karthik and I know each other for a very long time. Karthik used to be my customer from from before Zerodha, and he was supremely passionate about educating people on financial markets. So when Zerodha started, and we kind of realized the big problem to solve for in India is also financial education. And so Karthik was really the first person I reached out and said, what, we need to build something. And that's how Varsity got started actually.
Varsity is Zerodha's flagship education initiative. It's built on the principles of MOOC, and we've got topics ranging from the basics to advanced concepts of trading and investing. The topics are divided into modules. Each module contains several different chapters, and you can read through the chapters, and if you have any questions or queries, you can post a comment below each chapter and you'll get a quick response to that and help you learn better. Now, the good thing is the content is absolutely free. We don't really have any requirement for you to share your email ID or login details, so you can just freely read and post your comments. So if you have a genuine intent to learn, Varsity is probably the best place to learn about stock markets in India. Another good thing about Varsity is all the topics are kind of made available in one single place. It's not really scattered. So if you want to learn about, let's say, futures, then everything is available in a very structured, sequential manner for you. You don't have to jump from one place to another place to kind of learn on a certain topic.
And I think Varsity is amongst the top 3 or 4 initiatives, online initiatives on capital market education around the world. I doubt if there's any other platform where you will see as much engagement, because Varsity in my head is more like a wiki plus a Quora kind of format. Karthik, I don't know, I think he's been answering queries on this for like 10 years, 8, 9 years, he must have spent like 20,000 hours just answering questions.
Do you know there are like close to about 100,000 comments now? That's quite insane.
Yeah.
But,
Even for education today, especially when it comes to money and finance, right? It's usually something has to be an enabler, right? So what we've seen is most people end up learning about stock markets, etc. once there is greed at play. So essentially, I want to make money, so now I want to learn about finance, right? But the problem is once you are biased by money, now that's fear, greed, and all the other biases. Education becomes harder. I think the best time to really get educated is before you've starting investing or trading. So the best time education is before you do it. That's when you will learn it without any bias. So now the question we had was, how do we attract that audience before they trade or invest? How do we get them to learn about the markets? Certification seemed like a right way to do it. So to say that learn about the markets in the Varsity and then test yourself, then you'll be more confident when you're actually putting money at play. Or Varsity certification is not even if you don't have an intent to trade, invest in the stock markets, learning finance is like a bare minimum requirement for almost everyone out there. And I think if people can go through all the modules, sit through and clear the certification, you will have the confidence to say, I at least know the basics of finance of sorts. And the certification itself also is very challenging, as in it's not like anyone can sit and clear. So the reason for keeping it challenging is because then people feel that they've actually put some effort to get the certification. So I mean I think it's a for us it's like a very interesting experiment to see if we can make financial education more popular in the younger audiences especially. But Varsity certification is open for all, in the sense you could be in college, you could be in a job trying to trade the markets. Just a way to build confidence that you understand the basics of stock markets.
So basically what we've done is we've picked the absolute basic minimum knowledge anybody who has an intent to learn should possess, right? Now these tests are proctored and it's in a multiple choice question format.
See, the thing is, we all start our careers to try, earn money, save, and then retire, and then have enough money saved so that you can lead your retirement peacefully. Right? And through your life, you will have some expenses. You'll have education, then you'll have marriage, then you'll have kids, whatever. Right? So whatever you earn, you need to be able to allocate, budget, and then still have enough at the end of, say, by the time you're 60 for your retirement to be, kind of covered. With all this medical progress out there, I think the retirement, the periods are extending, right? As in, age expectancy is increasing. So, so today you need to plan for at least like a 15 to 20-year retirement corpus when you start earning, right? And the only way to be able to save that much, considering inflation, is to do better with your money, right? It's impossible today to keep money in bank accounts or, and then expect that will somehow compound over time and somehow have enough retirement corpus. So India is a growing country, and I think one of the ways to beat inflation in the country like ours is to kind of invest in companies or invest in stock markets. So over a long period of time, you can potentially beat inflation. And that is super important in today's world, to be able to beat inflation. But to be able to beat inflation, you need to invest in markets. To be able to invest in markets and do okay, you should have a basic understanding of money, right? Otherwise, it's almost impossible. Without knowing basics of cricket, you can't play cricket, right? As in, you need to know what's a bat, what's a ball, what's a pitch, what's a ground. So I think that's where we are trying to kind of help people understand the basics. So you're kind of setting them up with, the odds of at least them doing okay with, in their life, in terms of their money, increases significantly.
I mean, without really knowing basics and the nuances around trading and investing, entering the stock market can be quite disastrous, right? For obvious reasons. So I think being aware of how the ecosystem works in terms of right from placing your order and what it takes to execute that order. So and how do you manage your position? How do you manage your risk? I think these are some absolute essential things you need to really know. Without having that basic knowledge, trying to trade or invest can have a very short-lived outcome on your trading career. So I think that's for that reason it's very important to know the basics. So like I explained earlier, we have Varsity Web, which is where all the articles are. These are we've got modules and then chapters, and you can post your queries. So this is Varsity Web. The format is basically long form articles. But if you don't have the patience to consume a long form article, then we also have Varsity mobile app. It's available both on iOS and Android. So we've kind of gamified the content here. The articles are in bite-sized pieces, and it's very easily consumable. So you can be anywhere waiting for the bus or at a restaurant, and you can quickly consume some content. So we have Varsity app as well. The content's available both in English and Hindi, so you can switch between languages based on your convenience. Then we've recently started the effort of making videos for Varsity content as well. We've got close to about 50, 60 odd videos, and the repository is only going to grow over period. So we also have video content. So you can choose whatever is easy and convenient for you. You can pick that format and start reading. It's completely self-paced. You can consume at your convenience, and there's continuity because across all platforms we've ensured the content is structured, so you can do it at your own pace.
No, I think, see, the thing is, it's never too late to learn about money in life, right? As in, so it's kind of, anyone who's earning money or is going to start earning money, I think, Varsity as a whole is the right apt product. Varsity certification just kind of instills more confidence, when someone is transacting with money. So it's kind of across the board, but what we, our long-term effort, where we are putting a lot of impetus is India has the largest number of 20 to 30-year-olds, right? As in, actually, we also have the largest number of 10 to 20-year-olds in the world, right? So we have a large piece of our population who's going to start earning money soon, right? And we believe the maximum impact can be teaching finance to that audience, right? Because historically, what has happened, in India, also in a lot of other countries, is no one teaches finance when you're in school and colleges, right? As in you come, you get a job, and then you figure stuff on your own. And you typically end up picking habits from your immediate friends or family, right? As in, so a lot of my friends, because their parents were investing in gold, they ended up investing in gold, real estate, whatever, right? And what worked historically may not work in the future, right? As in, in India, real estate, anyone who invested in real estate for 20, 30 years, from the late 90s to, maybe mid 2000s, they made tons of money, right? But it's unlikely to happen in the future. So the idea here is, can you end up teaching people a skill set before they start earning money so they can do better with it? Yeah, so the idea behind focusing on students with varsity certifications is because they're less biased with money. So if money is not at stake, so they can do better. Now, how do we reach students? I think the best place is the college, right? As in, if you can go associate with the college can potentially nudge students to learn about finance. And every college, I think, has almost like a moral obligation to think about if their students are learning finance. It doesn't matter what stream it is. Even in an engineering college, if I finish my engineering course, I come out, I learn money, right? As in, and someone should be teaching me how to manage my money a little better, right? So we are reaching out to colleges and trying to put this kind of little idea there, saying that you should maybe nudge your students to learn about finance. Not rocket science, as in just the basics of finance. And I think varsity certification kind of does the job. So if you could, if students come, they take certification, they come out of college, they will know how better to manage their money. And in a way, all of this is really good for the country as well, because what this country needs is financialization. You need more people to be backing entrepreneurs and not as much of real estate and gold and other physical assets. Because if India as a country has to do well, you need more entrepreneurs and more people understand about money, more the risk appetite to back entrepreneurs. So in turn, the higher the odds of country doing well as well.
Apart from the student community, I think if you're a person who's just joined a job and you've got your first salary, and like Nithin explained, inflation and lower bank yield, so you have to take risk and you have to start investing. So if you've just joined a job and getting your first salary, then I think it makes sense to kind of go through these lessons and certify yourself and be aware of what you're dealing with before you start investing. So in that perspective, I think certification is a great idea.
So the thing about stock markets and investing is, typically at the top of the bull market is when there is most interest, right? And the interest really wanes as the market underperforms. But like investing in the stock market is growing a tree. You cannot do it in 1 year. I mean, there is no get rich quick scheme, right? As in, the idea is to do certain things for long periods of time. And it's also about, I think, the whole idea of teaching finance is also setting the right expectations, saying that this is not a get rich quick scheme. Because if you come in thinking it's a get rich scheme, you get disappointed. You get disappointed, you stop doing it. You stop doing it, in the long run, you're gonna hurt yourself, right? So I think the idea with finance is also to teach what should be the right expectations by investing in the markets. Then the chance of you getting scammed by someone who claims to make extraordinary returns, even that reduces significantly.
In fact, module 3 of Varsity, which is included in certification, has an elaborate chapter on how to set right expectations when you're dealing with the stock markets.
So yeah, in the last 2-3 years of our growth of a business, I think one of the disappointing aspects of our growth has been that a lot of these new growth has also come from folks who have come in with the wrong set of expectations. And this wrong set of expectations has been set by people on social media, right? Because today, there is a monetization angle on content, right? As in, the louder your content, the more clicks you get, the more money you make. So there's almost like an incentive for people creating content to be loud, right? And one of the things we've been saying as a business right from the start is that there is no quick way to make money in the stock markets. There is no easy money. I think stock markets are like the toughest place in the world to make easy money, and this is something that comes through with every single communication of ours, because we understand that if the user comes to us with the right expectation, he's going to stick around for longer, right? We rather have small number of users sticking for longer periods of time versus a large number of users who come and go, right? Because if they come and go, they're going to be disappointed, and they're going to spread that negativity amongst people, saying, stock market is a scam, stock market, because once you come with the wrong expectation, once you're disappointed, you're going to propagate the disappointment out there. So I think like one of the most important aspects about learning finance is actually knowing what to expect from the stock markets, knowing what to expect from investments in general. So then, whenever, even if it kind of extends beyond stock markets, even if you invest in startups, you invest in real estate, invest in bank FDs or fixed income instruments. It doesn't matter what you're investing in, you will know what you should be expecting, based on the risks that you're taking by investing in that instrument. And risk to reward, thinking about risk to reward is a very important aspect of doing better with your money in the long run.
The content on Varsity is basically evergreen finance. So what we are trying to teach in Varsity is concepts and how things work. Whether you're reading it today or 20 years later, the nuances remain the same, right? So the focus of Varsity is that.
In the stock markets or generally in life, if you've made money the wrong way, you want to give the money away as well, right? So, so you could be in a 5 multi-bagger, some guy who peddled you the stock. Once you make that 5x of it, you will use that money and go into another stock expecting 5x return. And when you incrementally keep taking more and more risk, the more number of times you get on a tightrope walk, the higher the chances of you falling, right? So eventually it catches up. Bad habits always catch up. You might get lucky, but it's impossible to stay lucky for long periods of time.
I think in the long period, what really works is consistency, and whatever you do today in order to generate a certain return, you should be able to repeat it over, let's say after a year or whenever you're trading. So it should be repeatable. If it's not repeatable, and if it's an outcome of one of these 5 multi-bagger stocks, then obviously that is not sustainable.
See, the thing is, the biggest challenge with money is I know a lot of smart traders, really smart people, like PhDs and MBAs from the best colleges. But when money is on the table, people forget all the life lessons, and they react to their biases. But the odds of that happening is much lesser, if you're educated on finance. But it doesn't, like I said, this whole fear and greed can affect the most educated, the most experienced people in the world. So it's there is no getting away from it. And so yeah, psychology when it comes to money is also like a very interesting topic. It's not really part of this module, but it's part of Varsity. So if someone wants to go through, and learn around psychology of trading and investing, it's a very interesting module to be.
Yeah, it's called the inner worth. It's a beautiful, collection of lessons, articles basically.
I think for me, when I think about this, today the younger audience has too much clutter and noise in their lives. Like too many people trying to trigger them to buy things that they don't want, right? So it's very easy to get carried away and not do well with your money. And people are gonna eventually, I think, in today's day and age, I think people will retire early by force, because because of evolution, the younger are much sharper and smarter. So I think the newer generation has to factor in that I'll probably retire early and I'll have more retirement life. So I should have saved enough in that small periods of time. So the savings have to be actually larger to be able to lead a larger retirement life. So I think it's about teaching people the importance of saving, investing, doing better with their money, and not getting triggered, as much by greed and quick fixes of sorts, which today is constantly, you're always constantly triggered on social media to buy stuff that you don't need.
So apart from scoring whatever it is required to get the certification, I think one key takeaway from the entire exercise is if you can go through the rigor of learning the basics and and getting a good understanding of core concepts of finance related to stock markets, then I think that's a good takeaway personally for me, because while certification is one thing, the rigor of learning the concept and being aware is another thing. So it's okay even if you don't get the high benchmark we've set for the certification, but if a person can understand what is being written and discussed, that's a good takeaway.